Hey everyone, welcome to the Christian Employers Benefits Podcast, brought to you by Imago Dei Insurance Advisors. So today I wanted to talk to you about a Christian worldview, specifically a Christian worldview and how employers can think about benefits. So employee benefits, health benefits, what you would provide to your employees. So first I want to start off with talking about a theology of everything. I personally believe in a theology of everything. That means that whatever we do, we are to take it through the lens of a biblical worldview. We are to actually open our Bibles, understand our Bibles, and we're to make decisions in our life based upon what the Bible has to say. So we can do that in everything. We already know places that we do that in the scriptures. We'll take things, principles that we learn as we study our Bible, and we'll apply them to life. But there are plenty of things that we don't really think through. And one of those, I believe, is in the realm of faith and work. I think there's been a lot of movement lately in this direction to understand, as a Christian employer, what is it that we're supposed to be doing? And how are we actually going to make an impact for the kingdom through our work? That we are not to have a secular sacred divide, that we believe that the only way to honor Christ in our work and in our vocation is by having a pastoral position or working in a church of some kind. But actually, there's tremendous impact that's made through our vocation, that work is good, that God created work for his glory, that it is something that happens in Genesis before the fall, that this is in the time where God said, this is very good, that we've been given this work to do. So even now, after the fall, we continue to do work because work is valuable. Work is important. God cares about what we do with our work. Yet part of what we are to think about when we do work is how we honor Christ in that work. And one of the ways that we can do that is to take inventory, take stock of all of our work aspects and the way that we manage our employees, the way that we do business. Are we being like the world around us? Are we being unique, set apart? Do we act differently as a Christian business owner? So let's take employer benefits. That's the space that I play in. That's the space that I'm speaking to. So let's talk about that for a minute. So before we go to what it should look like, let's talk about what it looks like today. So what's the current system? Let's take inventory. Let's take stock. Let's look at our current breakup. So most likely, if you are an employer, you have what is called a fully insured plan. This, in loving terms in the healthcare industry, is you are under a BUCA plan. BUCA stands for Blue Cross, United, Cigna, and Aetna. So those are the main big four fully insured groups that own most of the market. So when you have a BUCA plan, you are part of what is called a fully insured plan. A fully insured plan means that you are pooling your money with everybody else that is in that system. You pay one payment, you pay one premium, and that's it. That's all that you do. You have no transparency to see anything. You're unable to make changes to what you do to affect your costs. All that you do is you pay your one premium, and that's it. And then next year you'll get a 15% increase on that, so that way the insurance company continue to make money. They essentially look at you as an employer. They look at your employees, and they are a for-profit company, and how they can go ahead and make money is to make sure that they don't lose on you. So what they do is, in their calculations, they're going to take the worst possible case scenario to make sure that they don't lose out on this deal, and you're going to pay an extraordinary amount to do that. That's just in the system. That's how it's made up. The second big part of this is in 2014, with the Affordable Health Care Act, with Obamacare, they actually set limits. It's called a medical loss ratio. They set limits on how much money a insurance company can actually make. Well, in theory, that's good. It should prevent greed and waste and total depravity affecting all of these things. But part of the reason why that didn't work out is it was done as a percentage. So when we say you can only make so much money up to X percent, in this case around 15%, well, the only way for them to make more money is for them to grow the pot. So, for example, is it more money to you if you made 15% of $1 million or 15% of $20 million. So essentially what has happened is it's incentivized insurance companies to have gross waste, to have fraud. And really what they've ended up doing is being able to buy the whole system. They're vertically integrated. So these huge companies own hospital systems, they own medical clinics, they own pharmacies, they own everything all the way through. And what's happening is they're making huge profits at everything along the way, and you're paying for it. So that's kind of the system. That's why people are so disenchanted with the way that things are done now, is it just feels like there's no way out. And currently, if you continue to play in that sandbox, I mean, you're right. Unless there's some other major legal change, there really isn't anything that you can do. You just kind of have to bite the bullet and eat the cost. But there are other ways to get around this. So let's talk about now what a Christian worldview says about this topic of employer benefits, and then we'll talk about how we can help affect some change. So the first principle to take in mind is biblical worldview is going to say that whatever we're doing, we want to honor Christ. So this means that the type of plan that we have and pieces that are put in place ultimately exist for us to honor Christ in our business. And we want to honor Christ in our business by having something that is robustly Christian. So here's a major problem with the current system. If you are contributing to one of these major carriers, you are directly funding their ability for abortificants, for transgender surgeries, for hormone replacements, for secular psychiatrists to push Freudian thought or Rogerian thought into the workplace, for your employees. I know we don't tend to think of it that way, but that is how the process works. You're putting your money into a big pot for them to be able to do that. So you have to ask yourself, does your current plan cover those things? And if you're in one of these carriers, the answer is yes. Part of that is over federal regulations. There's been nothing that you could do about it. So for a long time, you kind of did have to do that. There wasn't a way for you to not afford it because it was against the law. There are some things that we can do now, and I'll get into that towards the end. But you have to think about, does your plan actually honor Christ? Second principle is to love our neighbor. Well, if you're a Christian employer, outside of your family, your second closest neighbor are your employees. Those are the people that report to you, that are directly under your care and stewardship. So as an employer, it's your responsibility to love your neighbor, to love the employees that God has given you in your business, that you are to steward them well. And unlike the world, our goal is not to make a profit at expense of people. So we want to look at our benefits plan and say, how can I love my neighbor? How can I love my employees through this benefits package? And that may come at a price. So you're going to have to decide what that cost means to you, what that should look like. How do we take care of those who are helping us? Because ultimately we know as employers that we cannot do this alone. It requires good people to help us. So we want to be ones who not only see the value in people, but also want to reward them, also want to care for them, also want to know that as an employee of our company, we're going to do all that we can to make sure that these people are taken care of, because we actually care about them as people. They're not numbers, they're not cogs, but they're individual image bearers of Christ. We are to show them worth and value and dignity, especially if we are one who is in charge, if we are one who is called to steward them. So the third principle is going to be honest dealings. So if, as a Christian business owner, it is incredibly important that we have integrity in our business, that we are operating in honest ways with our clients, with our employees. And part of that means that we also care about the dealings of people that we partner with. So in the insurance space, one thing that's beginning to be apparent and there's beginning to be pushback over is this idea of price transparency. Well, why? Part of that is because there's so much waste and fraud, and you have no idea because you have no information. You're unable to see exactly what is happening. So you're able to be taken advantage of because you don't actually know what's going on with your plan. So one that is hidden is one that you just don't know if there's honesty. And the reality is it's not. Again, there's a lot of companies that are making an expense or earning tremendous profit at your expense. So you have to ask, does your plan provide you transparency? Are you able to see all that's happening? If you are in a fully insured plan, if you're on a major carrier, like the ones I talked about earlier, Big Buka, you don't really have any information. There's no way for you to check. You can go try. You may be able to get minor information, but you really don't get to see what's going on. So it's going to be incredibly important for you to understand, where's your money going and what is it being used for? And is it being used in ways that they are stewarding your money well? So the last pillar that I want to talk about is whole body care. So as Christians, we believe not in a Gnostic thought or dualist thought that there is an inherently spiritual and physical, but actually that we are embodied souls, that the spiritual and the physical are connected, that we are one person. And because of that, our bodies matter, our health matters. It is not as much value as spiritual. It is of little value, but that doesn't mean it's of no value. What that means is we are to actually not only steward other people, steward our families, but we are to steward our own bodies. We are to care about our own health and our own bodies. And that means putting things in place that would encourage the health of our people, that we would want them to take care of their own bodies. We would want them to steward those bodies for the glory of Christ, that He gave them to us, that they are a gift to us, and that we are to steward them the best that we can. So now that we have those 4 principles put in place, so we are to honor Christ, we are to love our neighbor, we are to be honest in our dealings, and we are to care about the whole body and the whole person. I had outlined a few ways in which there are some current issues in the way that we have health insurance or benefits, but I don't want to leave you with just the bad. I want to provide hope. There is actually a way for change. There's a way forward. But I have to say, the way forward means to be doing something different than everyone else is. And sometimes that can be the hardest part for people, is realizing that you as a Christian business owner are going to step into a space maybe others are not. And that makes you nervous. I would say that there is always risk when you step into something unknown, but there isn't risk when you're doing it with people who will take care of you and walk you through it. That's why you're not to do this alone. So here's part of the change. A company called Covenant Choice, which is in partnership with the Christian Employers Alliance, won tremendous legal battles for religious freedom and for legal protections for Christian business owners. What this means is they're able to offer program through Covenant Choice that would allow Christian business owners to offer a plan. So hitting our first principle of honoring Christ, it is actually a full insurance plan. It's not a MediShare. That isn't insurance. It is actual insurance. It's backed by an insurance company. But this plan is able to remove things that go against Christian values. So under previous federal regulations, you could not do this. But through the hard-fought legal battles that they pursued, we are now actually able to offer you as the Christian business owner a plan that removes paying for things like abortificants, abortions, transgender surgeries, hormone replacements, and secular psychiatrists, along with a handful of other items that would be against our Christian values. So they were actually able to win the exclusions and not have to include that in the plans. So that means the plan that you are paying for is one that honors Christ. It is one that doesn't include these items that would go against what the Bible says. So we are incredibly excited to be able to offer this plan to you. The second piece of this is love neighbor. Not only are these plans mission oriented, that they are biblically informed, but they also are just a better plan. So you as the employer most likely will save money off this plan because you're not paying for things you don't need, and you're actually able to offer a better rate to your employees. So it will be more affordable to them. It will be more affordable to you, and you should be able to actually get better care. This is the epitome of love your neighbor. You're actually providing them something that's of tremendous value to them. And yes, you also get the benefit to you on your P&L, but it will directly impact the people who work for you, who you are caring for. Thirdly, this plan helps in honest dealings. So part of this is the way that it's created is called a level funded plan. What that means is you will have access to all of your data. You will actually be able to see how the money is being spent, who it's being spent with. We are able to bring options to you of pharmacies that will be transparent, that you will get the rebates for. And in a level funded situation, there's actually potential for you to receive refunds back at the end of the year for unused portions of your insurance. So if you've paid in money into this plan and you didn't use all of it, you would actually get a refund. So I have to ask, does your current plan do that? I don't know the last time that Blue Cross Blue Shield gave anybody a refund. So this is just part of being honest. It's just honest dealings. If it's your money that you put forth to go ahead and pay claims and you didn't have to pay for it, you overfunded it, then you get the money back. It's that simple. And if the claims go over, then you paid for the insurance piece and you're protected there as well. The insurance will actually take over and pay for what you couldn't. The last piece is whole body care. So with these plans, we're actually able to also bring on wellness programs. These wellness programs can go ahead and encourage the diet, exercise, health of your employees. One of them that I work with is called AffiliFit, and it's an app that will allow you to go ahead and actually create a fun and engaging way for your employees to take care of themselves. You're actually putting tools in place for them to be able to care for their own bodies and steward those well. So in summation, we want to be a people, we want to be an employer specifically who takes a biblical worldview to everything that we do. We want to take a biblical worldview to our plans. We want to honor Christ in them. We want to love our neighbor. We want to have plans that are honest, and we want to care for the whole body. So my question is, does your current plan look like that? And if it doesn't, what is it going to take in order to move to something that does? If you want to talk more about that, I'm happy to talk to that about you. You can look up Covenant Choice online. It's going to be offered through the Christian Employers Alliance. Please reach out to me, David here at Imago Dei Insurance Advisors. I would love to walk with you through this process and be able to help you navigate the changes that are before us and be able to offer you a better plan, something that would show tremendous care to your people and be able to be confident that the plan that you have stands with Christian values.